Welcome back to another episode of the vlog. I'm so excited because framing of the deck has been done. Y'all, it's been a year of us trying to get this deck built. Now I'll tell y'all about that drama later. But right now, I'm gonna take you outside, show you what it looks like from the patio. No, I did not get footage of them building. I chickened out, but they've got the frame up. After inspection, they'll be back to do everything else. And I'm gonna get me some courage and I'm gonna film them while they're putting it together. I don't know why I felt so awkward. Maybe because it was like 100 people outside of my yard today. But nonetheless, the frame is up. We just have to pass inspection on Monday. And then once we pass inspection on Monday, they can do everything else. So super, super excited to share with you. So y'all know we're not going back inside no time soon, because after the deck is built, we got to decorate. And we'll talk all about those details later. So I've got some information to share with you as a homeowner, because it took us a year to get this approved. So I'm going to share that after I show you kind of what we're looking at and what the plans are, and kind of give you a visual walkthrough of what everything's going on. But if you're having problems getting some stuff done in your yard, or you're thinking about doing some work in your yard and you want to make sure you get some approvals quickly, stick around to that part of the video, because I learned some stuff and I want to share it with you. So, but for now, let's take a look, friend, because we about to be official. We about to barbecue on a regular basis. All right, let me show you the video. Or let me show you, Jesus Christ, I can't even talk, I'm so excited. Let me show you the framing for the deck. All right, before we hop into the deck, let me just remind you about this patio furniture, okay? Because up here, things are gonna change. Well, things, not much. That's gonna go over in the cutout that we have for the kitchen. But our living room, or outside living room furniture, will remain where it is. I haven't decided if I'm gonna move that down or not. We'll see once all things are done. But I'm gonna get like a console table to go there to hold some cute little decor items for outside. But y'all, listen, I know y'all see me talk about these sofas all over the Instagram, and I have to share this with you because, like, look how they look even after the winter and the fall. Did you see that? Like, look at these pillows. I gotta get new pillows. We'll go decor shopping while they're building the deck. But you see these pillows sitting outside, getting all their dirt. Like, that is not the story. I was so, like, I'm not a skeptic, but I was like, there's no way this furniture can be as good as they say it is. But y'all, legit, it is. Like, it still looks freaking brand new. I'm so excited. So it makes me happy that I don't have a lot of furniture cleanup to do. We will move it down temporarily while we clean up the concrete back here. I'm thinking about painting the concrete and doing like a little Spanish tile paint back here. But in terms of cleaning up the furniture, I don't have much to do. This sofa, like, my dad came out here weekend before last, laid on it all out, like nothing. So there are some small spots that are like dingy, and that's mainly because we got these little stray cats. It's so funny. I'm gonna have to see if I can pull it up on the security cams. These damn cats, excuse my language, come and post up on my furniture, and they are the ones that are dirtying up the couch, not us. But even with that, you know, it still looks like that. So there's a couple of pieces that I'll have to do like some light cleaning on it, and when I get ready to do that, I'll share it with you. But outside of that, like, we still We still on cloud 9. This thing feel like it felt the first day I got it. No lie. There was some, some slime in it from the kids. I got that cleaned out. I can't even tell where it is. But look at this. Like, it's heaven. I know I'm not supposed to go on about furniture like this, but they got it right. So they are worth all the hype. Yeah, so this is outer furniture. I'll leave the link down below. You're gonna get an extra 5% off of whatever sales they got. They are having sales over and over. It's because, you know, we're getting into that time of year. So in addition to whatever they got going on over on the site, you can get an extra 5% when you shop through my link. If you have questions, drop them down below. I swear to God, I will give you my honest feedback about what's going on. And y'all know how much I love outside. If I didn't like these right here, I gotta find another cushion to go in there. I'm probably gonna get another cushion to go in there, but I don't see myself having to replace any of these anytime soon for any reason. So extremely pleased. I know we're supposed to be talking about the deck, but I just had to drop that in because, yeah, things about to look a little different. So now let's get into the deck. I don't even know if you can see it. We're building a deck. Oh, we finally got the deck approved. It's being built. Like, my heart is it's racing. So we're gonna go through this whole little deck build. I'm gonna try to record as much of the progress as possible. Like, it was 100 people here working to frame today, and I didn't really feel comfortable, and I had to work recording them. So when they come back next week to actually start building everything out, I'll try to get some shots. But I wanted to show you real quick what we got. I'm gonna show you from the top of the patio, and then I'm gonna go down in the yard through the back fences and show you what it looks like just from a framing perspective, because there's a lot going on. So yeah, so from the patio we have our deck framed. Yay. All right, so let me know if you can see it. So right here is gonna be 2 steps coming off. It's gonna go down. We kind of drop down a little bit because I didn't want it flush to the concrete. So this is gonna be gone. And this will be steps all the way across. I finally get my steps all the way across, guys. I'm so excited. Over here, we will have a bar top area. And then there'll be like a 4x4 landing over there with some stairs to go down into the other side of the yard. And we'll talk in a little bit. This is much different than the original plan that we had in place, because I'll have to explain to you once we kind of look at everything how this kind of works. So from there, all of this will be railed off. We got a little bump out over there for the outside kitchen. Then it'll be rails, and then we'll have some steps coming off to put us on that side of the yard. So yeah, super excited. They were noisy, but so far it looks good. No concrete or anything has been poured in the footings because they had to come and build the frame. The city has to come and inspect it. They're going to be here to inspect it Monday. Once they pass inspection, then they'll pour the concrete footings, allow that to cure, and then come back. We're using composite material for the deck. So the deck boards are going to go that way, that direction, and then the top rails. So it's like a light wood color, and then the top rails will be a dark wood color to match the ceilings that are up there. So let's go down into the yard so I can show you what it looks like, and then we'll come back and chit chat about the drama that it took us to get the deck approved, because it's been a year with us going back and forth with the city, 3 different plans. We finally have the approval now, and I want to tell you what caused the delay. So let's go check it out, and then we'll come back up here and we'll talk through what all was happening. Right, so we're going to the back, and my backyard it's a mess. I am probably going to move some of this so that it does not kill my damn grass. Excuse my French. But y'all look, like it's stuff everywhere. I didn't catch this before they left, but I made them pick that up before they left here. They just left stuff all over the place, and that's gonna kill my grass if it stays for too many days. So I'm gonna pick it up this time, but we're gonna have a conversation before they leave here the next time about making sure they clean up after themselves, because that's a no-no. But these were the stairs that were there, and this is what framing looks like. Y'all y'all see that rock? Y'all see that rock? I'm keeping it, but do you see that? This is crazy. This is another one of those dang old rocks that came out of the ground like those over there. It's ridiculous. But I got more landscape rocks. They were able to plug all of the sprinkler heads, so they just capped them off. I'm probably gonna go in there this weekend and trench that over. Since the hole is dug, I'm gonna trench that over and move it over here so that I can use that as a drip line, because I actually need that one. But yeah, so we're gonna be pretty high off the ground, which was not what I expected, but I guess it's gonna work out. So I'm assuming the deck is gonna come all the way to the end, and the fascia board, which is the covering, will cover here. Now, what I will say is that this is going to remain open underneath here. We're not closing this off because of this. We went back and forth as to whether or not we wanted to close off under here, but we were advised that we need to leave this open because we live up against this green space. We don't want to provide like a safe haven for like wildlife and critters and stuff, snakes, all that stuff to come to. So even though it's going to be sheltered, it's going to be shaded, it'll still be open, so nothing will be able to come in here and really hide from predators. So even if they go in there, let's say at night, they'll still come out because it's open and it's not really a safety place, if that makes sense. But because of that, it's going to provide some additional planting ground around here, and I have a lot more space between the edge here and the end of this rock wall that I could use for, say, like potted plants. I've got that guava tree over there. I'll probably create a flat spot and put like my bigger trees that need that kind of direct but partial sun here, and then do some raised veggie beds along the side, because as you can see, we get sun right here from about 11:30 to maybe 5:30, almost 6 when it's the summertime, and that's it's a perfect amount of sun for the plants that I want to grow. And now I can save my fence space for actual evergreens and stuff like that I probably won't get to until like next year. So that's the frame. It looks, I guess, as flat as it's gonna look. What I may do, I don't know. We'll just leave under there the way it's gonna look, and we'll deal with it later. But I like it. So the posts will be exposed once they have been cemented in and everything is done. We'll go back and stain those black. The bar top will be cedar. But yeah, so it gives us a nice little flat space to entertain, hang out, and it's an extension of our area over there. So really, really pleased. So let's go back real quick. Ooh, that's bright. That's bright. Let's go back up real quick. Talk about what it took in order for us to get here. And then in next week's video, you'll see him put them all together, and that'll be the reveal. We'll be ready to rock and roll. Let's go up and talk about all the drama that it took for us to get to this approval. Okay, so let's talk drama. And I'm sharing this not to complain. I'm sharing this to inform. Y'all know I always like to share the tea as I get it to help you as a homeowner transition through some stuff. So when we moved in a year ago, it's been a year. It's been a year. Anyways, when we moved in a year ago, a couple of months later, we had some folks come out because y'all know this has been like on my radar since before we moved in. So when we moved in a year ago, we had some folks come out, give us some quotes. We chose our company that we like, and we submitted major plans to the city. Like, I'll insert the video because it was about to be on and popping, baby. We had 3 levels of deck. We got the hot tub. We got all those things. And we quickly were denied. So originally when we got the first denial, because we've been denied a total of 3 times. So the first denial came with what we understood, that we were trying to build with a material that was impervious, which I have since learned is not true. And if you aren't sure what impervious structures are, impervious structures in the construction world means the material that you're building with doesn't allow water to penetrate through. So it creates like flood factors. Now, I believe that initially that was the initial decline. I believe that because there's no way that I could have got that information, because they were talking about flooding and all these concerns in the neighborhood. There's no way that I could have got that information if somebody from the city hadn't have said that to the company. So the first decline came, and it came about 4 months later. We waited for like 4 months to get an approval for the city. And we went back and forth a couple of times with the HOA to get an approval from the HOA on what we wanted to do. The HOA was fine. We had a privacy wall that was too far back in the yard. They wanted us to bring it forward. So we brought it back closer to the yard. The HOA was fine with the design, but the city said no 4 months later. So when the city said no 4 months later, at the end of last year, this might have been around October, November. So we might have had them come out in like June. Or we might have had them move forward with it in June because we had interviewed a bunch of people. We have a deposit down on the hot tub, everything. So when the city said no, I told the people, hey, you know what? Let me go back and forth with the city because that doesn't make sense. Like an impervious structure, this is a deck. There's no way that this is an impervious structure. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Well, needless to say, I never got around to it. At the end of last year, we went through some very dramatic stuff with one of our kids, and building this deck and doing anything else kind of like fell off the radar, which is why we hadn't been here creating content for you guys. We're just getting back to getting in front of the camera. So at the beginning of the year, we went back. They said we needed to make it smaller in size. We had the same company come back, draw up more plans. We're on plan number 2. We submitted we're on plan number 3 at this point because we submitted plan number 2. The first denial, I made them come back, do another drawing, send it in. That plan had 2 levels of deck. They still said no. We still got some feedback about the impervious structure. So now we're on denial number 2. And on denial number 2, the bottom is falling out of it personally for me. And I'm like, I can't. So at the beginning of the year, once we got a handle on what our personal things were going on as far as our kids and stuff were concerned, I reached back out. I was like, hey, we want to kind of start this process again. Let's get a new plan drawn up, sent to the city. I'll be honest, I haven't even tried to call them. I just haven't had time, but we want to get this done ASAP. We want it done before the spring. So we get back with the city. The city comes back again with another denial. My understanding is it's impervious structure. I'm like, this can't be true. All the while, I've never called the city, which is my mistake. I've never called the city to inquire for myself. I'm going strictly based off of what the decking company is telling me. And after I spoke to the city, they tried to communicate what was communicated to them, but it just wasn't connecting for me. So finally, when we got the third denial in January, I said, look, let me call them and see what's going on. Because the decking people at this point are livid. They've been building decks out here for over 20 years. They can't get this approved like they are. Because at this point, we scaling back on their money. Okay? What started off as like a $60,000 project has been reduced down to like a $18,000 project. So it's a lot, right? So they're losing money. They're frustrated. I'm frustrated. So I finally called the city. And when I called the city, we learned something that I think is very, very important for you to know. And I know some of us, it's too late because like we're already here, we couldn't have controlled this. But had I have known about like ordinances and stuff like that about what I'm about to share with you, I would have asked these questions while we were building, because we have been really restricted as far as what we can do in our yard. And there's no way that I would have spent the amount of money that I've spent in building this house, knowing that those restrictions were going to be in place. I would have built this same floor plan in another community, not bound to those restrictions, or I would have shopped communities based on what those ordinances were to determine, you know, what I was willing to do before I went under contract. So here's the deal. Where we live in our city, the deck, the material on the deck wasn't a problem. We actually got a credit as far as how much we could build because we were dealing with the material that is not impervious. That's pervious, meaning water can flow through it. It's good. So we got a credit. We can actually build a little bigger because our structure is not going to block water. Now, this only applies to the deck because this is a structure. This does not apply to pools, which was also giving us mixed signals, because we were like, we see pools all over the place. Doesn't apply to pools. This applies to structures, decks, sheds, covered things, all that good stuff. So what we learned is that where we live, our neighborhood is under an ordinance that says we can only have 50% of our property covered by structure. Decks, sheds, pergolas, arbors, stuff like that. Only 50% of the yard. That includes your house, your driveway, walk-ups, patios, stuff like that. So the whole while we are getting denied, it's not necessarily about the material that we're using. It's not that the deck is impervious. It's that we only have 3% left on our property. Our house, driveway, sidewalks, like leading up to the door, all that good stuff, takes up 47% of our lot, which means we only had 3% to work with. 3. So we are submitting stuff that is like 6%, 7%. And the lines are getting crossed because we hear this impervious, because I feel like at one point that was a thing and then it went away. And then it was like, oh no, it's just this. But we are highly frustrated because we did not know that we only had 3% to work with. Had I have known that I only had 3% to work with, then we never would have built the elaborate design. I paid money to have somebody draw up this design so that I could style it professionally. I never would have made those investments. We just would have started with what we could do. Would have been disappointing, but we would have just started there to be able to get this done sooner. I'm a person that believes everything happens for a reason. It's in God's timing. So it didn't happen last year. It's happening now. We're in a much better place emotionally, stably, as far as what's going on family-wise. So I feel like we're doing it when we're supposed to. But as a homeowner, it's really frustrating to hear that you can't build in your area the way you thought you were going to based off of information that's not true. So once I was able to call the city and talk to the lady at the city and she explained what was going on, I was able to say, okay, do they know how to calculate that? She was like, yes, they do. I found out that they had been cutting up with her because they were frustrated. So I apologize because I never call with a nasty attitude. That's just not how I operate. Like, I believe in treating people well so that you can get good results. I should have called a long time ago. So the whole moral of the story is if you are building like your semi-custom home and you like me, you excited about your property, and you think you're gonna go in and do all these things that you want to do. I knew about the HOA. I knew about those restrictions. I did not know that the city was gonna crack down on me that the way that they cracked down and take me to a third of what my original plans were. Am I frustrated about it? Not anymore, because I get it. But I could have saved myself some frustration had I have known that before. So if you are in the process of buying, building, hadn't signed your contract yet, ask those questions. Say, hey, what's the HOA like? What are the city ordinances as far as what we can do in the backyard once the house is built? Ask those kind of questions so you know what you're working with beforehand. And save yourself some frustration. And if you are having a company reach out on your behalf to try to pull permits and stuff like that, because they were working with the city because they had to pull permits. If you're working with the company to try to get permits pulled and stuff like that, and you run into some issues, call and ask for yourself so you can get the answers that you need and save yourself some frustration. So that's our drama. Needless to say, we're building it now. It's getting done now, but it was a long road to get here. But the good news is framing is done. Once the inspection is done on Monday, I'm sure we'll pass and they'll be able to get finished. They said they'll be done, and by Easter, we'll be sitting on our deck. So yeah, that's it. We super excited. So next week, I'll share with you how they put everything together. I'll get over my jitters and do some recording of them putting it together. The crew was real cool. I am going to fuss like an old lady, though, and be like, hey, y'all need to clean up your mess because I don't want my dang grass to die. And Tim, he's going to get home and fuss about that too. But anyways, we'll share with you next week how everything comes along. Ooh, so exciting. And then we're going to build some raised beds. We're going to build I'm saying it now. I don't know if it's true, but I think I'm going to build the dining table for out there. We'll start designing this stuff. I thought we were coming back in, but they got us approved, so we still outside, child. But anyways, thanks for sticking around for today's video. I hope that information was helpful I hope that information was helpful for you, and I'll see you next week. Bye, friend.